ಧಳಂಕತಕತಿಕತಕತದಿಗಿಡತೋಂ ತತ್ತರಿತ್ತರಿತ್ತಕ್ಕಿಣ್ಣತಾಂ ತರಿತ್ತಧಣತಾಂ.
How will a child know, or how will a parent know that, this is this spark that this child has, and performing arts, dance, music is going to be the mark for this child? I mean, is there something that can help us? Because what is your observation as a teacher?
After all these years interacting with the children and working with the children, you just can't say anything. You have to, the parents have to give it a try. Because I've had children who, had joined my classes because the parents had, insisted, and they had joined, and they had been with me for 2 years, 2.5 years, nothing happened. And suddenly one fine day, I don't know where that spark comes or what happens. And they were so very passionate about this. And that has happened. And I've had children who come with a lot of, potential, and from the very first class, they just give their best. So you just can't say, you have to give it a try, because, there are no examinations, entrance exams or anything to find out maybe people like you who try to talk to children to find out their passion and can help us and help the children.
Yeah, actually, that's the reason why I started this space, and that's the reason why I interact with many people.
But Vidya, what I want to tell you here is, parents can give, can introduce these art forms to the children right from their, when they are very young. You can take them to concerts, even at home, instead of, I'm sorry to say this, I'm not against Bollywood music or Bollywood dance. Yes, but, instead of all the time watching the TV with those Bollywood numbers, they can actually once in a while switch to the channels where classical music is played. Or you can just switch on, now that you have your mobile phones with all kinds of music, you can switch on. It need not be classical music. What I'm trying to say is, it is not only classical music, classical dance. There are so many other forms of dance other than Bollywood. The children can watch them. They must watch, in fact.
Yes, I totally agree with you. And I think it's really a mindset and, what is everybody doing kind of perspective. So, I mean, you were fortunate enough to have parents who encouraged you from day one. Now, in the world, we have people who have some, I would say more like a mindset or a belief that it's going to be difficult to make it as a performing artist. So I want you to share your journey, your triumphs, because we learn from other people's stories, and then it is for us to work. So,
you want me to tell about how I moved from my Arangetram onwards, or how I moved from a performer to a teacher? What is exactly your?
How you moved as a professional in performing arts?
Okay.
So that transition, yeah.
Bharatanatyam is a very expensive art, no doubt about it. Whether be it the learning time years, or after that also, when you have to perform, costumes, jewelry, and then a good auditorium. For music and dance, you need a good auditorium with good acoustics. Otherwise, the performance, nobody will like to watch a performance which is done in a not so good auditorium. You cannot watch it beyond 10 minutes. So for sure, you need a good auditorium. You need all the time, you cannot be performing for recorded music. You need musicians singing, live musicians is very important. So if there is going to be live musicians, then you need rehearsals. Nobody comes for rehearsals free of cost. So right from, from the rehearsals till the performance stage, lot of expenses involved. So you must be first of all mentally prepared for that. So the time when I was young and I was performing, there were a lot of things which were available we used to have a lot of musicians in the training stage who were really, really good, who were willing to help the upcoming dancers to come and play free of cost. There used to be a lot of temples. Even today, there are a lot of temples who have those festivals happening, and they have cultural. They do have cultural, part of their festival, and they do have good stage and do good auditoriums. In fact, all those things are available right now. But and you have to be really passionate to do that. You have to be really, really passionate. And first of all, before you talk about a performance and expenses and things like that, learning itself takes a long time. It is not just a year or two. Minimum 5 to 7 years of rigorous training is very, very important for a dancer to go on stage. But then once you become an accomplished dancer, you can work out all these things. You can have your own musicians. Once you start giving performances, look for avenues. There are musicians who come to your rescue and who introduce you to a lot of cultural societies which give their auditorium free of cost to performers. All these things are there, but you have to prove your mettle. You have to prove that you're a good dancer, you're a passionate dancer, you're ready to learn. In that case, that's possible. That's definitely possible.
Great. So I guess just like any other line, we need to prepare ourselves rigorously for 5 to 7 years, maybe 10 years. And like any other profession, you have to invest in it financially also.
Yes.
And then you have to build a support network of logistics, musicians, so
Exactly.
you can go out and become an established performing artist, dancer, musician.
Yes.
If you see, it's actually quite similar from any other profession. I don't see too many differences.
Not at all. And one more thing about this profession is that you have to be updating yourself. Definitely, 100%. Because, whatever is written in the books, the grammar, all that, when you're learning, you're going to anyway learn all that. But then that upgradation comes, along with, in fact, in my 30 years, what I was 25 years back is not what I am today. I've definitely done a lot of, that is what everyday learning is a must in this dance form.
Bhavani ma'am, I want you to share when you started to teach in Chennai as a teacher and you had a small group of like 5 students, what you shared with me. And then you grew. I mean, it's so many students. Can you share that journey? Because that's something I'd love to hear about.
No, actually, if you call them challenges, my challenge started immediately after my Arangetra. This was done in Kalakshetra. So 90% of my audience were the teachers in Kalakshetra, graduate students, postgraduate students. And it was full of artists. And 10% was my my friends and our relatives. Rest 90% was like that. And I was very happy. And there was this one student who came to me and said, you know what, you did well, but when you were keeping your Natya Rambam, your left hand was little lower than your right hand. That was the kind of precision the artist was sitting there and watching, wanted from a dancer. It was, and the Arangetram was over. My teacher was very happy and we were planning something. My teacher was also not, she was just about 10 years older. So we were planning to perform together. So I was, that was another an award for me, performing with my teacher was the greatest award, I could ever think of. But it so happened about less than a year after my Arangetram, my teacher passed away in a very bad accident. So I was totally, I thought, I cannot dance. My dream totally shattered. And I thought, this is the end of my dancing because I was so close to her. I was seeing her thrice a week, for 2 hours. And we used to share a lot of things. And suddenly this happened. I said, I'm going to stop dancing. It's not going to work for me. And after my Arangetram, in fact, Atte had asked my father to send me to Kalakshetra to do my graduation and post-graduation in dance. And my father had taken her permission for me to complete my 12th. So he said, once she finishes her 12th, I'll come bring her to you. But before that, this happened, and I said, I'm not dancing anymore. And then it was my teacher's mother who literally blackmailed me. It was an emotional blackmail for me. She said, Prasanna wanted to make this institution huge. And if you're going to say this, then she will be really disappointed with you. She has so much hopes in you, and she was so happy with your dancing and things like that. Now, if you're going to say this, you're making her very unhappy. And that is when I realized that maybe I should continue. And then, you know what she said, did it? She said, why don't you start teaching for the younger ones who are in this class, who are still, and I was really, it was very difficult for me. In fact, I always tell my students I'm getting them, as when you speak about this Arangetram, it is very important in every dancer's life. You know why? When we are working during this Arangetram time, that 1 year or 8 months or 1.5 years or whatever it is, there is a beautiful bonding between the student and the teacher, because, the student has to give her 200%, as I said, and I have to see that a child shines, and she brings out her best on stage on that particular day. So I walk an extra this one, and she has to do that. And we need to have an excellent understanding, because there will be moments where I'll be expecting something from the child, and she's not able to give it, and I can't shout at her, or I can't scream. I cannot just say, okay, you're not getting it, you're not giving your best, that's it, enough. I can't do that. I must now try to find out what is stopping the child from giving her best. What is that she has not understood? What is that I have not explained to her clearly? That is when, that bonding comes, that we come little closer to each other, and whatever I give them, they, it multiplies, and when they do it, it is all the more beautiful. And that magic happens on the stage when you see the Arangetram. Also, when I say this, these expensive Arangetrams are not good at all. Giving dinner, lunch, keeping a very huge auditorium, there'll be hardly 50 people. And, you book an auditorium with 400 seats. And, the invitation cards are huge, like a wedding card. Each card is about 100 rupees. And you get the best photographer in the field, he charges you. All that is.
Yeah. I really get 2 points from what you're saying. Two. One is the teacher needs to connect with the child at the heart level.
Yes,
it's
definitely.
only when you can do that you can
Yes.
teach them the art form and motivate them. So,
Yes.
For those of us who want to take this up. The second thing is that anything doesn't need to be done in this elaborate manner. Keep it simple and keep it beautiful.
Exactly.
Yeah, I really understand that. And that's very good advice, actually, for many of us who,
Yes.
as parents also.
And also, Vidya, this point in time, I want to tell you one more thing. And there are people, who come and ask me, ma'am, I am 30, I'm 25, I'm 27. Is it the right time to start? Or can I pursue this? And I have children who come, and even parents who come and tell me, she's kind of heavy set. Will it be possible for her? Forget about all this. This is an art form where anybody can learn. There are no ifs and buts. It was my time, even my time, that never used to be in Kalakshetra, never used to be like that. I was always dusky. Nobody said, dusky people cannot dance, cannot do what, makeup won't look nice, you won't look nice, nothing at all, absolutely.
I like your point about people saying, you're too short for this or too tall for this or too
exactly.
That's unnecessary, really, because an artist is an artist at heart. And
Exactly.
they have it. And it doesn't matter what proportion they are, they'll perform beautifully. So yes, and even for some reason, even for actors or actresses, one ends up looking at looks, but that's not the core of what the person is doing. It's the emotion and the ability to convey the message. So
absolutely, absolutely.
ಧಳಂಕತ ಕತಿಕುತಕತ ದಿಗಿಡತೋಂ ತತ್ತರಿತ್ತ ರಿತ್ತ ಕಿಣ್ಣತಾಂ ತರಿತ್ತ ಧಣತಾಂ ಧಣತ್ತ ಜೋಣುತಾಂ ಜೋಣುತ್ತ ಧೇಮಿ ತತ್ತರಿತ್ತ ರಿತ್ತ ಕಿಣ್ಣತಾಂ ತರಿತ್ತ ಧಣತಾಂ ಧಣತ್ತ ಜೋಣುತಾಂ ಜೋಣುತ್ತ ಧೇಮಿ ತತ್ತರಿತ್ತ ಧಣತ್ತ ಜುಣುತ್ತ ದೆಮಿತ್ತ ತತ್ತರಿತ್ತ ತತ್ತಣತ್ತ ಜುಣುತ್ತ ದೆಮಿತ್ತ ತರಿತ್ತ ಧಣತ್ತ ಜೋಣುತ್ತ ದೆಮಿತ್ತ ತರಿತ್ತ ತಾಂ ತತ್ತರಿತ್ತ ಧೀಂ ತತ್ತರಿತ್ತ ತೋಂ ತತ್ತರಿತ್ತ ತನಂ ತತ್ತರಿತ್ತ ಧಣತ್ತ ಧಣತ್ತ ಜೋಣುತ್ತ ಜೋಣುತ್ತ ದಿಮಿತ್ತ ತಾಂ ದಿಮಿತ್ತ ಕಿಟತ ತಾಂ ಕಿಟತಕ ಧರಿ ಕಿಟತೋ ತಕ್ ಕಿಟತಕ ಧರಿ ಕಿಟತೋ ತಕ್ಕ ದಿಕ್ಕು ಕಿಟತಕ ಧರಿ ಕಿಟತೋ ತಾಂ